ये रेडियो पाकिस्तान पॉडकास्ट है।
This is News and Current Affairs channels of Radio Pakistan, and I'm your host Ali Jannat with a weekly program, Diplomatic Session. Listeners and viewers, in this program we discuss bilateral relations, cooperation, and other important developments of mutual interest with the diplomats of Pakistan's friendly countries and regional and international blocs. Today, in our show, we have with us Ambassador of Kazakhstan, His Excellency Yerzhan Kastafin. This show is being broadcast simultaneously from News and Current Affairs channel and FM 101 network of Radio Pakistan, Saturday at 6:15 p.m. We welcome you, Honor, in our show, His Excellency. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, welcome. Firstly, I would like to know from you, Pakistan and Kazakhstan have the advantage of Islamic brotherhood and goodwill for each other. So tell us, what else makes Kazakhstan so attractive to Pakistan?
First of all, I would like to mention that this year we celebrate the 30th anniversary of establishment diplomatic relations between Kazakhstan and Pakistan.
Very good.
Exactly 30 years ago, on February 24th, the first president of Kazakhstan visited your beautiful country.
Yes.
And during that visit, we established our diplomatic relations. So my sincere congratulations to the people of Pakistan with this very important date. So when it comes to cooperation between Kazakhstan and Pakistan, we should take into account our cultural ties, our common, historical bonds. But not only these unite us. Today the economic diplomacy is the name of the game. And in this term, I must say that Kazakhstan and Pakistan can help each other in terms of developing our countries as regional hubs. It's well known that Kazakhstan for centuries served as a bridge connecting East and West. And in this term, Kazakhstan is ready to help Pakistan, to develop cooperation with the whole region. Kazakhstan is the leading economy of Central Asia. Moreover, I'll give you just one figure. In the last 3 decades, we have attracted more than $180 billion.
Very good.
It's more than 70% of all foreign direct investments attracted to the Central Asian region. Moreover, Kazakhstan represents a half of the Central Asian economy. So I mean that Kazakhstan is very attractive, and in this term, we could serve as a, regional hub, and you can, if you establish, for example, a joint venture, you can easily have access to the Eurasian Economic Union, to the Central Asian markets, and finally even to Europe. 2 years ago, we finalized construction of the railroad connecting the Western China with European countries. And nowadays, delivery time is about 2 weeks in comparison to 40-50 days by sea. So we have a number of, very, I would say, attractive positions that could be utilized by our Pakistani friends.
So, Excellency, apart from that you have discussed, Kazakhstan is indeed a very beautiful country. So, what both two countries have done so far in terms of tourism activities?
So, I must say that during last 7 months, a number of very important developments has taken place in bilateral relations between Kazakhstan and Pakistan. With regard to developing our cooperation in tourism, I must say that in November, for the first time, we organized an online session between PTDC, Pakistan Tourism Development Corporation, and Kazakh Tourism, our national operator. So now we are planning to develop our cooperation in this field. We are planning to establish direct ties between tour operators.
Very good.
And then the very important part of this cooperation, of course, it's not only about tourism, but in general, it's about relaunching direct flights between our countries. I must say that in December, on 12th of December, the government of Pakistan announced that they approved our request to operate flights between our countries. Now we are waiting for an official reply from your government, and we will proceed with the next steps.
Very good. That's great enough. So bilateral relations between the two states is vital, as you discussed. So how do you see the diplomatic relations between the two countries at this point of time?
So I must say that when we talk about our diplomatic relations, we have an excellent dialogue. We support each other, we understand each other, we don't have any problems, we don't have any conflicts, any tensions, and we consider each other as, two brotherly nations, and it is extremely important, and it creates a kind of solid foundation for further developing cooperation between Kazakhstan and Pakistan in many other areas.
So His Excellency, Pakistan and Kazakhstan enjoy cordial relations based on common approach towards world issues as mutual understanding, as well as mutual understanding, we must say. So how would you elaborate the understanding between the both countries?
When it comes, for example, to our cooperation within the framework of the multilateral organizations, regional organizations such as Shanghai Cooperation Organization, CPAC, United Nations, so on and so forth, we always support each other. We, 2 years ago, for the first time, we held a very first round of our political consultations, and this year we are planning to organize the second round of this very important dialogue. And in general, for example, between our national security advisors, we established a regular dialogue. Our foreign ministries, they meet on regular basis, on different events. The last meeting took place in, if I remember well, in Dushanbe. Last year they met several times, and they always discuss our bilateral agenda with main focus on our economic cooperation. So what I'm saying is that we don't have any issues that could, somehow have a kind of negative influence on our relations. It's a very good, solid foundation for developing our cooperation.
So in this contemporary world, as we know that trade and economy is very important and playing very vital role. So how do you elaborate the relation at state level, especially the cooperation in the field of trade and economy?
So when it comes to trade and economy, I must say that there is a great room to develop our cooperation. I always say that nowadays, unfortunately, the main issue that we need to challenge is the lack of information. Our peoples know little about each other. That's why we desperately need, kind of events or different events on regular basis. For example, in November, for the first time, we organized a two-day business forum in Almaty, and we invited our Pakistani friends to visit our country. Most of them visited our country for the first time, and as they say, it was kind of eye-opener for them. Moreover, just recently, last week, we had a delegation of business people from Kazakhstan. About 30 people came to visit your beautiful country. So I suggested to visit not only one city, but 3 major cities. I mean Islamabad, Lahore, and of course Karachi. And during all this, during our trip, during our visits to your cities, we had meetings with the business community, chambers of commerce, big groups, and I'm really happy to say that now these people, they have changed opinion about your beautiful country.
Yes.
And they have, I would say, the quite opposite picture before they, came to Pakistan. And again, as I said, we have to organize such events on regular basis, and it will help us to overcome this this lack of information, low, in general. I mean this kind of lack of information and the absence of the this knowledge about the real situation on the ground.
Yes, indeed. So political relations, as you know, that strengthen the ties in many ways. So are you satisfied with the relations at the political level at this time?
At the political level, I must say again, we have a very good relations. Our president of Kazakhstan met with Prime Minister of Pakistan, His Excellency Imran Khan, in September. On September 16th, on the sidelines of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. They had a very good, negotiations. Both sides were extremely satisfied, and they agreed that this year we will have visits. Our president accepted your kind invitation to visit your beautiful capital, and we hope that your prime minister will visit our country as well. And again, the main focus was to develop our bilateral trade.
So another thing that I would like to mention that Pakistan, as you know, that Pakistan is having energy sufficient resources. So what would you like to add in this context that Kazakhstan collaborate with Pakistan, especially to open energy corridor and to work with Pakistan in this context in the future?
So 2 years ago, we established 3 working groups, 3 joint working groups, and one of these working groups dedicated to our cooperation in energy sector. And this year we are planning to hold the very first online session between our ministries of energy to explore what kind of opportunities and options we have in terms of developing our energy cooperation. And I'm pretty sure that we will find a solution to this challenge as well, because it's well known that Kazakhstan is rich of oil and gas, not only oil, gas, coal, uranium. Allah blessed us with huge natural reserves, and our country is ready to help and to assist Pakistan to overcome this energy deficit.
So Kazakhstan is a landlocked country, and Pakistan provides natural land and connectivity to the Eurasian heartland. So how vital role Pakistan has for the regional connectivity?
I believe that Pakistan can and should play a crucial role. We consider Pakistan as a regional power. And as you rightly mentioned, Kazakhstan is the largest landlocked country in the world.
Yes.
In general, Central Asia is the landlocked region. So for us, it is extremely important to have access to the warm waters. And in this term, I must say that Pakistan can provide us with the shortest route. And as many experts say, regional connectivity is the name of the game, and we should develop our regional connectivity, interconnectivity, and we should help each other in terms of getting access to different markets. And when it comes to Pakistan, of course, it's a very attractive market. It's 227 million people.
Yes, indeed.
But apart from that, Pakistan can also help us to get access to the African markets and to the South and Eastern Asian markets. And I mean that in this term, we can significantly increase our export and the transit potential. And it's very important for us. And again, Pakistan is a very important player in this term.
So what about people-to-people contact, especially the relationship between the two countries to develop religious and cultural spheres? So how two brotherly nations get its people closer more and more, or enough?
In my humble opinion, to develop our people-to-people ties, again, we should address this main challenge, the lack of information. In order to overcome this very important challenge, we should establish cooperation between our media communities. This is the best and the shortest route to reach to our, to our people, to our fellow citizens. And that's why I met several times with the Minister of Information Broadcaster, Mr. Chawat Faudri. I also, when I was in Kazakhstan, I met with Minister of Information of Kazakhstan as well. So we decided to draft an MOU and sign this MOU this year to establish a legal framework for our TV channels, radios, newspapers, so on and so forth, to develop cooperation. And for example, this year we are planning to air our historical movie, Kazakh historical movie, dedicated to creation of our statehood, of our own Kazakh statehood on Ham TV, for example. So this is the way we should develop, and this is the way we should deliver this information about our countries. And I believe that such kind of exchange of information will help to increase awareness of our people about, the commonalities we have in our cultures, in our history, in our traditions, even in our languages, I must say. So this is the best way to develop our people-to-people ties.
So let's talk more about the Pakistan role. So do you think that Pakistan is doing right efforts to address humanitarian crisis in Afghanistan?
Some people, I will start from our official position. Our government sent twice delegations to Kabul last year. We held talks with the government of Afghanistan, we held talks with the Taliban, and the main idea was to have and to support this dialogue with the Taliban. And we fully agree with the Pakistani approach. It's very important to help the Afghani people to overcome the severe crisis that they face in terms of economic development, and Kazakhstan actually is doing the same. We provide, at this time we have two main issues to be addressed as Afghanistan is concerned. First one, we are trying to restore our bilateral trade to help to support the Afghan economy. And the second point is to provide, as we always did, to provide the humanitarian assistance. So in this term, I must say, again, Kazakhstan and Pakistan has a common approach.
All right. So in the same context, OIC, as you know, that Council of Ministers, Foreign Ministers meeting is going to be held in March in Pakistan. Yes. So how do you see this development, and what would be the significance and impact of it?
To be honest with you, for me, it's hard to say what to expect from the OIC, since the OIC is the second largest international organization in the world. So we have different, nations, different opinions. Our Minister of Foreign Affairs has already confirmed his participation in the upcoming very important event. But again, Kazakhstan was always and is always in favor of, constructive dialogue. And I believe OIC in terms of Afghanistan can play, again, very important role. We can help our Afghan brothers to overcome this severe crisis, and at least we should try to make them understand that regional cooperation can help not only us but also them, and probably Afghanistan can serve as a regional transit hub when it comes to developing cooperation between not only Kazakhstan and Pakistan, but in general between Southern and Central Asia.
So as an investment point of view, Pakistan is providing investment-friendly environment for investors here in Pakistan. So what is your opinion about this?
I'll give you just one example. So I mentioned this delegation of business people which visited recently your beautiful country, and some of these people were from one of the biggest and leading company of Kazakhstan called Cousteau Group. So this Cousteau Group is planning to invest in Pakistan. They have some plans to build a plant to produce construction materials and paints. So I mean that your market is very attractive, and our companies are ready to explore investment opportunities and investment climate of Kazakhstan.
So do you think that Kazakhstan is an emerging market for Pakistani goods?
Yes, definitely. But again, you see, the thing is that Kazakhstan, our population is only 19 million people. So we have one of the lowest density population in the world. But at the same time, you can, Pakistan can use Kazakhstan as a regional hub. I'll give you another example. We have one fruit processing organization from Sargodha, which is willing to build a warehouse to deliver and distribute their fruits not only to Kazakhstan but also to other countries of the region.
So for economic relations, what are the essential import-export items, and what areas do you think that need to be more focused, and as far as business activities are concerned?
So in my mind, I have 7, I would say, priority areas for developing our bilateral trade and investment. First of all, it's textile. Secondly, it's the pharmaceutical industry,
Yes.
Surgical instruments, sports goods,
Very good.
Agriculture, construction sector, and finally IT sector. So I believe that these 7 sectors could be of mutually beneficial areas for developing our cooperation. Moreover, in May we are planning to organize a single country exhibition called Made in Pakistan 2022. This event will take place in Almaty in Kazakhstan. And initially we were planning to invite about 70 people. Now we have more than 150 applications from the business community of Pakistan, and the number is growing. So I believe that this very important event will help us to develop cooperation in the mentioned areas.
You mentioned agricultural cooperation, so I would like to know from you that what could be done in the field of agricultural cooperation between Kazakhstan and Pakistan?
So in November, during our 10th session of Intergovernmental Joint Commission, we signed an MOU between our agricultural authorities. This year we are planning to organize the first meeting of our agricultural authorities, and we are also planning to sign another MOU between our cotton research institutes. And when it comes to agriculture, I must say that we have so many things to do. I mean that one of the main share of our bilateral trade is agriculture. Potato, I would love to organize export the sweetest mangoes in the world from Pakistan to Kazakhstan, and not only mangoes. I mean that a lot of things can be done in this term.
All right. So as an ambassador, what role can you play to further enhance import-export activities between the both countries?
So again, I always say that the main mission of any ambassador and any diplomat is a mission of a mediator. We should help and assist in terms of developing direct ties between our people, between our business communities, between our experts communities, between our academical circles, between our experts in culture, between our sports communities, so on and so forth. So this is the main mission, and believe me, my team is doing its best to develop our cooperation, in which is most important, to revive fraternal brotherly ties between our countries.
All right. So any message you like to give to the people of Pakistan on the behalf of the people of Kazakhstan?
On behalf of the people of Kazakhstan, I would like to welcome our Pakistani brothers and sisters. I would like to invite them to visit our country. I would like to invite them to contribute to developing and strengthening ties between our two brotherly nations. And finally, I believe that only through joint efforts we will be able to make our region successful and competitive on international markets.
So, Mr. Excellency, I would like to know from you that CPAC is a flagship project of Pakistan. So, how do you see this project, especially PakChina Economic Corridor?
So, as far as CPAC is concerned, I must say that it is an extremely important project which will help us to boost our regional trade and, of course, our regional connectivity. And I must say that now our Central Asian region as whole is interested very much in developing this project, because even for us, even for Central Asians, it will help to get access to your seaports. This is, again, as I said, the shortest route. And another important part of the story is that Kazakhstan is also a member of this One Belt, One Road initiative.
Yes.
And today, almost 70% of all transits are made through the Kazakh soil. So I mean that Kazakhstan and Pakistan are an integral parts of this very important initiative, and we should support such infrastructural projects, because such initiatives will help us to boost our ties, our economic development, and finally our trade.
So, what benefit Kazakhstan would get from this project, as you mentioned earlier, BRI? So, how important this project for the Central Asia and especially Kazakhstan?
For Central Asia and for Kazakhstan, again, it will help to get access to your seaports, to Karachi, to Gwadar. Last week, with our business delegation, we visited Karachi. and we met with the people from Karachi Port Trust. They made an excellent presentation on the facilities you have.
All right.
And using these facilities, our local manufacturers can increase significantly their export, not only to Pakistan, but again to the African markets and to the South and Eastern Asian markets as well.
So I would like to know more about the CPAC. One more question about this. CPAC and its benefits for Pakistan in future prospect, as we mentioned earlier. So how do you see that with the passage of time, it will benefit Pakistan as far as regional connectivity is concerned, as business is concerned?
Again, Pakistan for Central Asia can serve as regional hub. Without Pakistan, I believe it would be difficult for us to develop our, ties and our routes to the warm waters. I mean, and in this term, I believe that Pakistan will have and should have a lot of benefits. Not only when it comes to developing cooperation between Central Asia and Pakistan, but with other countries as well, and developing transit potential. I believe this is the best way to develop economies as well, because transit potential is very important when it comes to economic development.
So firstly, you have mentioned in your answer that you have got a different picture about Pakistan, Pakistan friendly environment, friendly business environment. So what was your experience? I would like to know about your opinion about Pakistan.
So I arrived in the mid of June last year, and I didn't know what to expect, to be honest with you. But now I see that it's a great country with a great potential, and definitely I will do my best to develop and strengthen our ties.
All right. Thank you very much, Ambassador of Kazakhstan, His Excellency Yerzan Kastafin. Thank you very much for your time, and listeners and viewers. This is all with today's show. And in diplomatic session next week, we will have with a new personality, and the producer of today's program was Rana Ghulam Mustafa, and video engineer Farhan Ali, and executive producer Abdul Rauf Khan. This show is also available on Radio Pakistan official website www.radio.gov.pk and social media platforms, and Radio Pakistan podcast at podcast.radio.gov.pk. I'm your host Ali Jannat, signing off from today's diplomatic session from News and Current Affairs channel of Radio Pakistan, Islamabad. Allah Hafiz.
ये रेडियो पाकिस्तान पॉडकास्ट है।